Hi, I'm Reba Hervis, Artistic Director at Overshadowed Theatrical Productions. Welcome to this episode of From the Wings. So, we're going to have a little bit of a heart-to-heart talk with this director. Sometimes I think that people who come to audition for a play think that it's perfectly all right for them to have an attitude about what may or may not go on and about the director. But when it's time for the director to share a thought or a feeling, then that makes it not quite so okay. And I think it's time for all the directors out there to speak out and share their frustrations. Yep, I'm talking about it. Your rehearsal conflicts. Why are people not honest on their rehearsal conflict form? So actually the whole audition sheet. Recently, I had auditions, and on this, I always ask very standard questions. What roles are you willing to take? What are your potential rehearsal conflicts that will help me to make the ideal rehearsal schedule for everyone? Do you have any idea how hard it is to juggle 41 people's schedules and then publish it and then realize that people were not honest and now they're going to tell you what happened? Two things recently happened to me that are pushing me to want to share this with you. Number one, somebody wrote that they would play this part, or this part in a recent audition. We thought that the person was perfect for one of those parts. So then we didn't bring them to callbacks. We just gave them the part. 2 days they waited until they wrote me back and said, no, that is not a part that I'm willing to take. I had to really press them until they finally said that they should have just told me that they only wanted the one part, not the other part. Now, we had to then go back and juggle the different parts that we had, trying to figure out what would then now be the ideal cast, because we really thought that when somebody wrote their name on a sheet and said that they were willing to take that part, that when we gave it to them, that they would accept it. So, when asking somebody a question, they give me a variety of different reasons of why they felt like they were right in answering the question the way that they did. I say, I don't care if you write that you're only willing to be the lead, as long as you mean it. You have a reason of why you only want to be a lead, and that's perfectly okay with me. I defend your right to be able to do that. But I would ask that you also defend my right to cast the show the way that I see it, and that you would listen to my reasons of why I casted it the way that I did. Number two, the rehearsal conflict sheet. Don't write down that you have no conflicts only to come forth later and give me 24 conflicts that you have. Or continue to send me messages and like, oh, I forgot this one, and I forgot this one, and I forgot this one. It's manipulative, and it's not right to everybody else in the cast, and it's not fair to your directing staff either. I totally understand how vulnerable you're being by coming in and standing before a panel of judges to talk and to sing for us or act for us or dance for us, and I totally get that. But is it really right for you to turn around and instead of accepting the experience for what it was and realizing that it's not about your talent or your ability, but sometimes it just might be that you're not exactly right for the part, or that your conflicts really are too intense to work with, that's the reason that you weren't a fit for the show. And so instead of criticizing the director and the process and the other talent, that you actually look at it and say, okay, that was a no, and that's okay. I hope that this will help you be able to understand a little bit of what's going on in my head at auditions and why I ask you the questions that I do. And maybe you won't be able to understand why I make the decisions that I make, but always feel free to go into a director and say, why did you decide to cast the show that way? Or why was I not a good fit this time? Especially for me, I want the process to be very educational. So I'm pretty sure that most directors would be happy to take the time to work with you in that way. Please, let's help each other to make this an experience that we both can be proud of. Until next time, this is just me talking to you from the wings.